everybody. Welcome back to Histories of Horror. Briefly, AL and I wanted to talk about an update from the last special episode we did where we told you guys all about the Face of Halloween competition that we are both competing in. I'm happy to report that both of us, she is in the number 9th spot in her group right now. I am in the number 2 spot in my group. I've bounced to the first spot a few times, and that's pretty cool, but yeah, things are going pretty good. However, we still need those daily votes, and remember, you can get a free daily vote every single day. And again, please do it once within your 24 hours if you can.
Yeah, it shows I just moved up to number 8 in my group.
That is great. So, yeah, I am still number 2 in my group, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about kind of really the reason why I am competing again in the Face of Halloween, which last year, in case everybody isn't already aware, it was called the Face of Horror. Same competition, same nonprofit, which is Starlight Children's Foundation, is who was involved with the Face of Horror, but they just changed it this year to the Face of Halloween as Matthew Lillard and Jamie Lee Curtis came to join as well. And of course, like we said, it's $13,000, a photo spread with those 3 celebrities in Rue Morgue magazine, and that will be what the champion winner gets, who gets to be the Face of Halloween 2025. So that is really an awesome opportunity in and of itself. But the main reason why I myself have decided to compete for the second time this year is because this is something that hits really deep in my chest and close to home because I'm not sure who might not be aware. I know AL, of course, is, but my reason for competing in the Face of Halloween, aside from my creative endeavors, is because I am the carrier of Duchenne muscular dystrophy, DMD. And 2 of my sons have this genetic terminal illness. In fact, my 2 eldest sons were both given a very short prognosis, thankfully, miraculously. They have outlived their prognoses into adulthood, and that is something that I am grateful to the Creator above for every single moment. But it was very challenging. I have seen my son go on life support. My eldest son almost passed away. Again, AL knows this. She can confirm everything I'm telling you is true. So that's my son. And I have another son. I actually have 3 sons. I have 4 children. I have 1 daughter and 3 boys. And my first oldest are all young adults now, and I have one, my baby, he's 14. So that's basically the gist. But my 2 oldest sons are 22 and 19, and that is Dre and Chaz. And Dre and Chaz both are fully wheelchair bound, and they cannot move from the waist down because of having manifested Duchenne muscular dystrophy due to a genetic deletion in my DNA code that they inherited. Now, my youngest son, whose name is Noah, he does not have it. He is the only one who did not have it. He just got the genetic lottery in that way. And then my daughter has not been tested yet, but she does not want to have children at all because she has the 50% chance that she might have the same thing and would have the same probability of every child that she had who was male would have a 50% chance of inheriting the defective gene, which is really just because of deletion on DNA coding. And that's a whole complex scientific explanation. That's a rabbit hole I invite you all to go into, because today is September 7th, World Duchenne Awareness Day, and that's, again, leading into my decision on why I decided, oh, I love Halloween, I'm also a creative, but I know what this is like, and no parent should have to deal with the pressures of having an ill child and income gaps. Starlight Children's Foundation hits my heart deep for that. If it were not for foundations like this, there's a lot of things that my children would not have had. And I'm trying not to get emotional on that, but yeah, that's it. That's a really big thing about why this is such a great opportunity, and being able to bring and be the starlight into these children's lives out of something that we all love, like Halloween, is just win-win to me anyway. And so, yeah, okay. We are really excited, like I said, and I am basically just wanting to rally you guys to support that if you can get, donations out. It's $10 minimum for 10 votes for whomever you choose to vote for, and AL's um Face of Halloween link is faceofhalloween.org/2025/Amanda, AMANDA dash Ladd, LADD. And again, yeah, what place did you say you were in, Amanda?
It says currently 8th.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, AL is in 8th place, and my link is faceofhalloween.org/2025/Sai, SAI dash Marie, Marie. And I am again currently in 2nd place. So please, if you can, get some votes in for us. And if you also can and you feel so keen to, donate to Starlight Children's Foundation through our links and give us a few more votes. In fact, the administrator today, they sent me an email and it's a response to my comment on Meet Starlight Children's Foundation. And I said, as a mother who has 2 sons with terminal genetic illness, Duchenne muscular dystrophy, whom are fully wheelchair bound and having been low income, still am, and disabled myself, my reasons could account for an entire article, a mission, a movie, a book. In essence, anything of importance in media and publishing, but the most basic reason is understanding the pain these children go through by seeing it directly myself and knowing that a moment of joy can spark healing and bring significant hope to an ill child. And the host replied, we enjoy a good scare, but helping out sick kids is even better.
Always is better helping out sick kids.
All right, so as usual, here we are at Histories of Horror, where we follow the echoes of the past to uncover the truth behind the veil. It's Cy Marie, and tonight AL and I are exploring one of the most infamous places in America's paranormal history, the LaLaurie Mansion. So how do you feel about this one, AL?
Hey, Cy. So the LaLaurie Mansion is located in the heart of the French Quarter in New Orleans, and is a place with a notoriously dark history. It's known for the gruesome acts committed there by its former owner, Delphine LaLaurie, and it's widely considered one of the most haunted places in the world. Cy, you've been there, haven't you?
I have, thrice actually, and on more than one of the tours. The first time I was there, just to take in history, but the last 2 times I went with entirely different intention to see if I could feel the energy of the past.
I've only ever researched it from afar, so while I've read all the stories, I've never walked its halls. That's why I'm so excited to hear about your experience. Let's get started with the basics. The story goes that in 1834, a fire broke out at the LaLaurie Mansion. When the authorities and locals responded, they discovered a horrible scene in the attic. Enslaved people were found tortured and mutilated. The fire was believed to have been set by the family's cook, who was chained to the stove as punishment and wanted to draw attention to the atrocities happening inside.
Yes, that's correct. After the discovery, a mob of angry citizens stormed the house, but Delphine Lalaurie and her family escaped. The mansion then changed hands many times over the decades, serving as a school, a music conservatory, and an apartment building. It was also once a bar, but today it is a private residence.
So, Sai, from a paranormal perspective, what makes this place so active? Is it all tied to Delphine Laurie and its original event?
So, while Delphine is the name that everyone knows, I think the energy is far more complex than that. So, she's definitely there. She's definitely a presence that many people have seen. The house itself, however, and even like just the land, has seen so much suffering. And it's not just the violent acts, but it's like the residual energy of fear, pain, and anger that has been lingering in this building for nearly 200 years. But it's also important to know that the original house got burnt to the ground, and the house that's there now was rebuilt shortly thereafter. And when they were building the second house that is known as the LaLaurie Mansion that you see on all the pictures, and when you go down there and stand and look at it, was that there were tons of bodies that were found in excavating the grounds in her garden and her courtyard too.
So, what was it like being there? What did you actually feel?
On my first visit, I felt like an overwhelming sense of sadness. So while I was there, and at this particular point, I was on a foot walking tour, and the guide was talking to some of the people at the front of the tour, and he was talking about how for a long time in New Orleans, people, and some people still do, will not walk on that side of the street or anywhere near that block, and that you can't, like, because it's a private residence now, there's no, you don't get to go inside. When you tour it, you can only see the outside. You can walk up to like the front gate and you can look in, but they talk about how a lot of people don't even want to do that, and for a long time people did not want anything to do with it because the energy and everything is just so dark and all consuming. But for me, as I was listening to even him say that, I was kind of like, it didn't feel that way. I was like, it feels sad. And that's when he started talking about how it once had been a children's school too. And I got more of a feel for like the children. And I walked to the front gate, and I walked and I stood as close to it as I could get. And I leaned in and I looked at the front door, and I just really studied the front door and the entryway to the house, because of course so many people had went through that. And it was like, it was just this, it was like standing in front of, looking at a gate and knowing that this is a portal, a doorway that all these different tortured and tormented souls went in and out of, and some never escaped from. And that was the weight of the feeling I had, was, oh my God, all of these people, they were just so trapped. They're just so trapped.
Did you just feel it was just
It
one
was like,
entity or was it a collective?
so I remember standing there and feeling that way, like it was a sudden chill, even though it was a hot day. And like I was being watched, but not really like the people or anything particularly. Like I couldn't make out any particular entities. So I can't say that it was like I seen a particular ghost. It was more like I felt their emotional energy and just the presence of many eyes upon me, if you will. Like, but not like these ones were angry, more of like they were like watching me curiously and cautiously. But that again wasn't like, the people that have described seeing Delphine describe her as being malevolent. What I was seeing was the souls basically of the people she killed.
Do you believe the spirits of the victims are trapped there, or do you think they chose to linger?
So it's a collective, and so there's a lot of residual energy. It's not always like a conscious spirit, like I said, and it just it's just like a bunch of like different individual stories. So I think it's a bit of both. The violence and trauma are really intense, so the energy of those events is kind of imprinted on the location, is what it felt like. And like I said, it's a residual haunting, kind of like a movie or on a loop, but I believe some of the spirits of the victims are still there, either unwilling or unable to move on. Like I said, like they were trapped and maybe they were waiting for justice or simply don't know how to leave.
When you felt that chilling sensation, was it accompanied by any other physical or emotional changes?
Yes, it was like I was being watched, but not in a menacing way. It was more of a curious, cautious feeling. Like the hair on the back of my neck was up, but not like I'm scared, like be very vigilant and aware, along with the temperature drop. And I felt a wave of sadness come over me, a profound, heavy sorrow that I knew it wasn't my own. It was like my empathy just picking up all of that.
Did you feel like you were getting glimpses of the past, like a physical trace?
I mean, not in like seeing like premonitions. It absolutely was like, it was like a fragmented movie in my mind though. Like as I was staring at the door, like seeing people walking through it from different passages of time, if that makes sense. I would get flashes of faces and maybe not quite the conversation, but like I could see them going through, and their emotions, how it was conveyed through their expressions and the feeling of being in different time. It was as if the history of the house was trying to communicate that message to me in my mind.
Was What was the most profound emotional expression you got from the house?
The feeling of powerlessness, the spirits I felt aren't angry or vengeful. They were just sad and hopeless. Like they said, they were all trapped, and it was an overwhelming sense of suffering and being trapped. It was almost unbearable to witness that, because it was like a stifling, oh my God, this is how these people felt constantly, and it's just entrenched in this land. No wonder people didn't want to walk over here. It's not necessarily that you might see something horrible and dark like you might see Delphine. Most people that see Delphine see her actually inside the house. But it's just that you can't get over this horrible dread, and it's just really sad.
What was the most surprising thing you learned or felt that the LaLaurie Mansion that the tours or legends didn't cover?
The presence of children. The stories focus on the adults, particularly Delphine and the enslaved people, which is important, but I think that sometimes Delphine almost overshadows
Mhm.
that. I distinctly felt the energy of scared, confused children. It's part of the story that often doesn't get talked about because of what was found in the attic, but it felt so real to me.
So, Sai, we've talked about the idea of paranormal tracing when we discussed my experiences with Waverly Hills Sanatorium. We established that it's not just capturing EVPs or chasing shadows, but it's about empathic resonance. What it's about being present with what still lingers and listening to the energy that's left behind. Do you feel LaLaurie has that effect?
Yes, LaLaurie definitely has that effect. LaLaurie isn't just about the ghost of Delphine, it's a place soaked in grief, pain, and unimaginable fear. It doesn't feel like a monster's lair, it feels like a historical site where the past refuses to stay in the past. It's more than ghost, it's history that refuses to leave, and it's embedded into the very land and fabric of New Orleans herself. It's palpable, and you can't help but feel it if you are keenly intuitive.
So, do you think haunting is a memory on repeat or a trapped soul?
I think that depends on the individual ghost and account or situation. The traumatic energy from a sudden violent event can become imprinted on a location. It's not always a conscious spirit. Sometimes it's an echo or a scream that's trapped in the walls, and sometimes it actually is. It's all based on, these are very individual basis, but I do think if a site or a house or land has a bunch of tragedy in a very brief period occur there, that it has more of a chance to becoming a place that has, one of those kind of like memory on repeat type of hauntings.
So, how do places like Lowery become recordings of trauma?
Well, the emotional intensity of a space acts like a sort of psychic glue. The sheer force of the pain and fear creates a lasting impression on the environment, just like a loud sound can make the windows rattle. The physical space itself then holds on to that energy.
Why might telling these stories bring a kind of peace or closure?
I think by acknowledging their suffering and sharing their stories, we give them a voice they never had in life. It's a way of bearing witness. It's saying, we see you, we hear you, and we don't forget what happened here. It's an act of respect and validation.
Yeah, and I think it also helps us, the living, process these dark moments in our shared history. These stories aren't just for entertainment, they are a way to remember and honor the lives that were lost. It's a way to find a kind of redemption in the darkness.
I totally agree. It's bringing space to the spirits so they can find closure, one would hope.
So, in short, the LaLaurie Mansion is more than a haunted house. It's a monument to suffering, injustice, and sorrow that still speaks through the silence.
That it is. And whether you're a skeptic, a believer, or somewhere in between, thank you for walking through it with us tonight. Until the next time, stay curious and remember some shadows are just waiting to be seen. Bye.
Bye.